Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
And I am Quanah Cockins, and we are unified once again this week to talk about
And we're going to talk about episode 7 of season 3 of Discovery.
past halfway now.
Unification 3.
So Stuart, what did you think of this episode then?
I don't know. Again, this one was fairly dense with dialogue and things going on. There was a lot of stupidity in it, but also some well-delivered, well-written lines, good acting, and some interesting ideas for sure. So this one left me kind of like, I really like this. Wait a minute. I'm not sure. Should I like this? I don't even know. So I'm kind of out. I don't know. Even after my first reaction review last night and people's opinions, I just don't know exactly what to think about this one. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it, to be fair.
This one, I liked it overall. I walked away thinking I liked it. It's definitely weaker than last week and the week before, but when you get a bar much higher, that's easy to do. Yeah, Mandalorian's doing that as well. We called a lot, which I always appreciate. First of all, I called the Spock thing, both in video and from Unification too, so I was literal, I guessed that. Awesome. So that was lovely and very, very heartfelt, and they gave it appropriate respect, which isn't always the case, so good for them. But then they kind of ruined it by, at the end, the president saying, how much of Spock was because of you? And it's like, wow, you really had to screw that heavily. Because once you say that, you put in people's minds of saying, oh, yeah, most of Spock's goodness is because of his sister that he knew, that he barely knew, and that he only worked with a couple of times in his entire life, etc., etc. So that was peaks and troughs. I know some people didn't like that it was so simple. I liked this was a cheap feeling episode. It was a bottle show, very cheap, no new effects, all on standing sets, because what we got was lots of character stuff, lots of world building stuff, lots of explanation, and I'd rather have a long, interesting character scene than a mindless who gives a shit action that will come and go and be forgotten. These moments are worth something. And I'm definitely sensing this season was given a lower budget, given the reaction to season 2, because it definitely is a cheaper season. I mean, hands down. All they're saving for later on episodes. So it was clearly a thought out piece, but then you're right. They did a few things of like, really, one of which being obviously Michael's mum. That's not how time travel works. She isn't in this future.
They also did the complete tie-in with not only TNG but Picard with the Kawat Malat,
which was nice. It made sense. It was logical. Dare I say? At least I thought they said Jat Vash. And I was like, ugh, how is the Jat Vash going to be useful right now? Oh no, it's the other guys. Okay, fine. Those guys make sense.
The funny thing is, when she materialized on the pad and then had the hood down and lifted the hood up, I'm like, who are you? Didn't recognize her at all. I mean, it's only like one or two beats until Mom. So, but I did not recognize her. I feel ashamed to say that.
I was waiting for her appearance, so I was kind of zoned in. But it's not just that. Like I said, I've watched the previous episode in preparation for our later episode, and if you watch those scenes back to back as I did, they make no sense at all. I didn't mind the Vulcan name change. I don't like it, but it makes sense in the context, and as long as it's justifiable and justified, that's okay. And the Tilly thing, we called that for being as stupid as it is. Luckily, the way they play it is a very sort of specific route of, it's only temporary, and Till even says, is this because I'm good or because I'll do what you say? And he's like, don't worry about that. Clearly, no, it's just because she'll do what he says. There's nothing else there. She's not qualified, she's not the right person for the job. She's the only person he knows that he can just tell what to do and she'll do it without thinking. But at least they tell us it's as stupid as we know it is, because Stamets' reaction is, wait, this is ridiculous.
As much as I love Tilly, I wasn't happy about that. As you knew going into it, I didn't want to see that happen because it was just kind of stupid. Yeah. But her line, is it because I'm competent or compliant, was awesome. And the way that she asked Stamets, and like she wasn't sure what to do, and I love that. Well, not really, but then he tells everybody else, and they're all like, "Say yes, say yes." It's like, oh my God, really? I can't see that ever happening, but
no. That blonde lady at least would be like, I was right here. I've been Starfleet 20 years longer than her. I've been on the bridge longer. I've got more experience.
Detmer would be freaking out more than her, I think. Detmer's the one like, I landed this ship. It's like, really? But you're saying, oh, whatever.
Her suddenly being all smiley when she's getting overmoted. Now, obviously, it's not the same as being actually promoted. And in fact, someone in the comments did actually mention that in exactly the same way, Mariner got XO'd in Lower Decks, and that was also stupid. Thing is, she was over 10 years older than Tilly, with experience at every rank. And that's the problem, though. Even though old Trek shows do it, or even new ones, it can still be as stupid then as it is now. As we said last time, it's the same as giving Wesley Crusher in Season 4, when Riker leaves, give Wesley second in command, and now he's ordering Data and Worf, and they're like, I mean, this is absurd. Just because Tilly's nice. Hopefully it'll be 2 episodes. I think just like with Burnham, she had to have that level of authority to be able to break it. So Tilly's going to be given it to do a certain thing, and then ruin it, and then be demoted again with a full-time person come in. I think that's...
Something's going to happen where Saru's taken out of the picture, and she's on the bridge, and she has to assume command, even though there's other people of higher rank there. They're going to be like, well, you're second in command. It's your responsibility. She's going to sit in that captain's chair, and she's going to do something captain-y, because her whole thing the last 3 seasons was to be captain. And the fact that she, in the Mirror Universe, took on the role of Captain Killy and just literally killed it. She had that authoritativeness, and she really played that part well. It's just going to lead into that. It's going to be like, I don't want to sit in this captain's chair and take the responsibility for the ship and the crew, but you're going to have to, because Saru's not here and you're second in command. And then she's going to have a little bit of a confidence boost, and she's going to end up doing something good in the chair, I think. But yeah, I don't know how long this is going to last. So the other thing that pissed me off about that whole thing was her and Michael still sharing quarters, even after we were pretty sure they weren't anymore. Because who's in the captain's quarters right now? Saru's probably still in his original quarters because he has all the plants. There's only 77 people or 80 people on the ship now, not the full complement. So there's a lot of extra rooms. Why are they still bunking together? I guess because they're friends. But even Tilly's whole, if you didn't come back, what would I do? Like, seriously?
You'd be absolutely fine. You're always fine. She was gone for over half of last season. What do you mean?
Yeah,
Stop
exactly.
forcing us to think they really care about each other beyond the forced stuff. You haven't earned this, guys. You're getting there, but give us one more season. It's like, remember, when she came aboard the ship, she was an unassigned, criminal. And then she got brought back into commander rank and still shared with the barely an ensign. It's like, and then she became second in command. Why is the second in command sharing with an ensign? Most of the stuff, everything with the Vulcans was interesting. Everything without the Vulcans had a bit of cringe and dislogic. The mum, the Tilly, the bit at the end, that, like, there was 2 writing teams, one that really cared about canon, that focused, and then everything else was like, well, this is all a bit off.
Yeah. The whole Burnham not sure she wants to be there, and wanting her to take off with him.
That's nice.
I mean, that's
Made
a
sense.
nice little umbrella over the whole episode. I still think it's going to play a part later.
Oh, yeah. Well, she can't really stay, because her and Book are far more interesting than her on Discovery.
The spore drive thing still spins.
Different sort of spinning, though. The inner spins. The actual ring doesn't spin, the inner spin. So it is a different spin.
They both spin.
Yeah,
They
but I
spin
mean...
in alternate directions.
Yeah, and it actually looked nicer. And it was a lot... We'll do a whole video, I'm sure. But yeah, it was different sort, much better, much sleeker.
Now let's get to the meat of it. The Vulcan thing. Vulcan-Romulan thing.
I liked it for the most part. I was intrigued. I appreciate it was so long and drawn out. I liked that.
It's funny because when the Romulan guy, who seemed like the nicest one up there, was when he was talking about to the purist about just logic, whatever, and to the other one, you just ride that line in the middle where and the whole time he's saying that, I'm sitting with Sylvie and I'm like, she's a fake. So then we turned off the episode, had something to eat, and guess what's on? Deep Space Nine in the pale moonlight. Literally 10 minutes before the scene, it's a fake. So I got a little bit of a laugh.
Stop controlling the universe, man. It's gonna get you in trouble.
I wish I could. I wish I literally could. It's subconscious things that happen like that.
So what did you think of the whole plot? I mean, is the meat of the episode? What do you think of the meat this week?
I thought it was good. I really liked the fact that unification happened again. That Spock's kind of like a messiah almost to them,
but not quite though. That was a fine line.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
More like a George Washington. Like, he did it, but he ain't no magic guy, but he did it.
And the whole Romulans still being Romulan-esque. Like if the Vulcans won't give it to them, the Romulans will. And it's like, well, we still have some discord, I see, even after all this time. Like we're not really told how long they were unified. We know that 100 years ago with the SB-19 thing, that's when they split from the Federation as a result of the burn, and I'm thinking they caused it.
Which was really interesting. That was a nice little, ooh, okay.
But does it really feed in with the whole we have more theories than ships
No.
line? Because it's pretty definitive, like, they at least think that caused it. So, Starfleet is
but they have the evidence.
True.
So...
True. But it seems sketchy.
Well, and that's going to be a great little reveal. I think that's going to be... I mean, that's... Hopefully.
Yeah, even when that was mentioned, it's like, give us the information. Well, it's got some sensitive data in there. We don't want to... But then it's found out that, we just don't want the Federation continuing the research and causing something else bad to happen.
Although it's weird. It's weird because the tech is just transwarp conduits. Like, it's just transwarp gates.
Yeah.
Like, we had that 600 years ago. Voyager took a lot of scans. Like, we've seen this tech. What I mean? It's weird they keep ignoring every other type of propulsion.
It's not even weird. That's just annoying. But no, I thought the whole her invoking and basically forcing the president's hand, like which is just Cicero, you can drop the niceties. My hand's already been forced by your commander. It's like, oof. And after she disappears off the bridge, Saru looks at Burnham like, what did you just do again? Even when you're not my number one. So that was really well done. And then the fact that Burnham drops it and shows basically that the Federation can be trusted. Because even her mom at the end there says, I told you there was more than one audience in that room. And it was the president that was the one that... So that was actually pretty well done. And the fact that her mom, just because of the absolute candor thing, just shoots her down like in front of everybody, and the looks that she's getting from Burnham, I was like, this is awesome. Like, shut up, Mom.
It's amazing how this week roasted Burnham as a character, but it all is needed, Even Book says at the start, like, oh, you've got such a messiah complex. It's as if they're finally getting self-aware how absurdly, I said to someone else who complained about how, Burnham does everything. Well, she does, but 7 of 9 Data and EMH Doctor, they always do everything right? They are also god characters. But A, they're not the focus, and B, they're always shown to be flawed as well. Imagine if 7 of 9 was the hero of your story and did everything right every time without struggle. It would be boring and we'd complain. But so at least in this episode they pushed her, they showed she's wrong, they showed she does bad things, so you can have her do everything every time, just show that she's also a bad character in other ways, Yeah,
and one trope I've been noticing in season 3 is she's still like the Mary Sue thing that people are complaining about, but it's not her initiating it ever. It's always somebody else forcing her hand into it. This one, it's Admiral Vance saying, "Oh yeah, the sister of Spock, you got to do this." So I don't know if they had the ideas written out and decided because of all the complaining to force it on her instead of her stepping up every time going, I can do this, I'm the best, I can do this.
I think it's the showrunner just understanding that's just too much.
Yeah, I don't know if it's in her contract that she has to be the hero of every goddamn episode, but it's a bit much.
Because the bridge crew especially, like, they're all talented at what they do, with a caveat that they're actually not, because the only reason they're on the ship is because Lorca handpicked them because he knew them in the mirror universe and could corrupt them. That's the only reason this crew's assembled. Remember that. They're not because they're the most talented, the most capable. It's just because the mirror guy knows
You're supposed to forget that, Samuel.
Yeah. So, but we do never see Bryce and whatever do anything of any sort of level of anything. Whereas normally in TNG or Voyager, you'd say, "What do you think, science? What do you think, Helm? And therefore you get this crew feel. So why couldn't there be? It's like with Oshra season 1. She's an expert of this thing. Well, then don't send down Burnham. Just send down the expert, So this was a great point. They could have done something. But I do agree. She does everything, but in season 2, it reminds me of the first episode where she's suddenly a test pilot, Burnham.
Yeah.
And this. And then she, So yeah, in this season it's definitely better. She's being forced to, and she's always sort of pushing against it. And especially at the end. She didn't win the situation, remember? She failed to convince them. She didn't succeed, but the president went over the authority of the thing and decided herself. So it was actually quite a nice, Like once she decided to give up, you could tell that was going to happen. It was pretty obvious. But she actually failed. Remember that. She didn't convince them. It still has the same effect, but it's them understanding the importance of she failed in the mission she was doing, but the president saw the point of what she was doing it for, and she chose anyway.
Well, she gave up and withdrew her claim before she failed, though. In all fairness, so.
But she knew she was failing. She knew she couldn't achieve it. Yeah, I'm sure that those two will be kind of pissy at the president. You know, that she's going to deal with that backlash because she went against the official team, which I thought was quite interesting. How all three of them, like, you could tell who the Vulcan was, but I liked how more Vulcan-y the Romulans were. You could see they've kind of melded together a bit more, but yet still had the spikes of Romulan. So I thought it was a good balance, actually. And the fact that we did keep the Romulan ridges does help when you've got a Vulcan and Romulan on screen. I mean, you do kind of need that if you're going to do those sorts of sequences. So I thought that was well handled. Good casting. Great president choice. I thought in her performances, she was a little bit too emotional, but it was super important. But it was a Vulcan emotion, so I could buy that.
But Samuel.
Yes.
Vulcan has no moon. Until it has two.
It has none.
Watch Major grin. He's gonna have to add this one because, damn.
Yeah.
And Vulcan looks like it's been almost terraformed
Yes.
to be more suitable for Romulans.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's not as much of a desert planet. It's not as red. So that should be interesting. I would have liked to have seen the surface of Vulcan. I would have liked another set in here somewhere.
Yeah. Or any Vulcan ships, any Romulan ships, we get those, orbital defense platforms, which, give them credit, they used pre-existing TNG Romulan computer sounds. Just insert. Which I thought, nice, cool. Yeah. But yeah, again, very cheap episode. Very simple, very bottle show, but it's like Wrath of Khan. It only has like 6 sets, but they use them creatively. So I'm wondering what that's leading up to, but I would rather have this sort of thing. Honestly, and even that trial wasn't drawn out because I did like the sudden, the mum listening to Burnham's soul confessions, and then just betraying her. But obviously, it wasn't. But you know what I mean? It was letting it all loose. Although
doing what you had to do to get Michael to admit.
Although it does help to give the mum like a 6-month time jump, literally and figuratively, to allow her to be a completely different character. Because again, if you watch them back to back, astoundingly not the same character. I mean, it's basically another character reset, but again, there's more time to that. Although briefly you mentioned at the start, Burnham going over Saru's head to start the ritual, which I thought was interesting, but I was waiting for Saru to say, well, to knock her down a peg, because like that's just so Burnham to go against the status quo, to go against authority, just do whatever she thinks is right. He should be like, we did not discuss this. He sort of vaguely, but they needed one more line of like, come on, Commander Burnham, this is you have to let me on these things next, this is what was unacceptable because he tied his hands.
This is the perfect use for a sidebar. Sidebar, Captain. Okay, and just talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was unfortunate. We didn't, because it's like she also betrayed everyone again in terms of like just tell them what you're gonna do.
Yeah. And another nice homage. We got a USS Yelchin, which of course was in reference to Anton Yelchin. Yes, we did. It was one of the ship's black boxes that they had. They actually mentioned USS Yelchin twice. And another one of the names of the ships is a Klingon ship. And then I forget the third ship.
A Klingon Federation ship.
Well, it's a Klingon name for sure. So
cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that was nice as well. So, and again, that's, I think, a homage done properly with the actor's last name. So that was really nice and subtle.
Oh, I didn't catch it, so.
Exactly. So that was really well done, and kudos to them for that. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, this episode is weird because it's such a simple episode. One thing happens. And then a character thing as well. Really. But it's a lot of dense story stuff, and I like how much we go into about the burn, how much we go into about the tech, how much we go into about, and this beautiful hint of, we were thinking about leaving for a while. Federation was doing weird things, and it's like, oh no, don't go into corrupt Federation, please don't do that. But that said, that was before Vance was even born, so he was not part of that, to be clear.
Yeah, and even them dropping their axioms and proverbs, like, at a certain point you got to realize that those are kind of not in, that was really well done too.
Because that was a great little sentiment, as we, there's always the question, needs the many, needs the few, but if there's that many, and we're really screwing a few, but a few is still millions, there are few, and if we're watching people die on the streets, and you're saying, well, yeah, but we should help, Andorians in the colony ABC. You know, it's
The
like,
greater galactic community as opposed to one planet. We don't care. It's like, really?
yeah, which I appreciate. You know, I appreciate the thought behind the season. It's not the fact that we're running out of dilithium per se. It's that we expanded too much, and we were using, use the resources for hundreds of years. There were less and less big sets of resources. It was just there's too many people. As we said, if there's a new warp cable race every 6 months in the galaxy, and they all need dilithium, times like 600 years, times it by a fleet being built. I mean, you're looking at exponential growth. So it just took 800 years for it to be just scarce, and I'm fine with that. There's just too many ships using it.
You got to feel bad though for the species that are coming up and just invented warp, and we got low end warp. Sweet. All right, how can we improve this? We got these dilithium crystals now. We'll focus it through the crystals. We're going to get up to warp 5 at least. Let's test out the first ship.
Yeah.
They engage, and all of a sudden the burn happens and their ship explodes, and the people on the planet are like, "We're never trying that again. We don't know what went wrong. No." There's got to be at least one species that suffered because of that,
I love that. That's hilariously dark. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, and probably somebody that haven't even established first contact yet. They were just trying. They were out in the far part of the galaxy, and damn, poor bastards.
But Stuart, I think you guys are not poor bastards, because you are going to tune back in and watch our full review later on tonight, scene by scene, with subtitles, so that we can read out some of the important dialogue, go through it, and if you want to help us out during that, then please do super chat during those lives. We absolutely rely on these to keep this channel going. How much free content we do a week? A lot, especially when there's lots of ships. You saw it, we pushed it out, you loved it, you really loved it. Excellent. Or join our Patreon, it's monthly, or one-time donation at trekyards@hotmail.com, that is the PayPal, or join the YouTube channel. Each one makes a difference, any one of which does make a difference. If you want to do them all, hey, feel free. And we've even got the rank of President. Federation President as joining the channel. Look for those fun prerequisite amounts. It's fun, we like it. And thanks in advance.
And just the simplest way is just hitting subscribe and like on the video. That's all you have to do. And share the videos around with people you think might enjoy them, to different Star Trek pages and groups, and just people you think will enjoy it. So anyway, guys, until next time, I'm Captain Foley.
And I am Commander Congress.
Bye, guys.